Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my newest vlog. This was filmed several weeks ago and then I got sick, and apparently the first few clips were in slow motion with no sound and just not usable at all. But this is the Orillium adventure style readathon that we are doing. So I love participating in Orillium, and I did, but for this month I kind of went rogue and picked the side quests, and I did the entire adventure from the very beginning all the way to the end, and this was that reading vlog. So I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. Tell you the adventure that we've been on so far and the reading prompts, or maybe what I read for them. Yeah, let's do what I read for them in each one. So I was stuck in a dungeon and I needed to get out. So I relied on my wits, which just means that I listened to an audiobook, which was Murder Road. Was that the one that was in this vlog? Oh, I don't know if it was in this vlog though. Murder Road, anyway. And I went towards the maze. And now I have to remove a complex lock enchantment cast on the exit door. So my prompt is to start or continue a series that intimidates me. And I had like 3 options. Okay, I guess I had a lot more because I have a lot of series on Kindle. But I just don't really go for series too often. I'm looking at the book that I picked for this prompt, and I'm very, very intimidated because, well, for one thing, it's Stephen King. And like, y'all know how I feel about Stephen King. Either I love his work, like Pet Sematary, best book by Stephen King ever, or I just find his writing very dull. And there's like no in between. And this book is 436 pages. It's also like huge. Like, look, it's as big as my head. Bigger. And maybe you know by the ice cream truck. So this is the start of a series. This is the start of the Bill Hodgkins trilogy. Is that what it is? I don't know. It's Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. I think that it's a thriller. I have no idea what the ice cream truck has to do with anything. I'm kind of hoping that it's this tormented serial killer who is using the ice cream truck as a front, and he's like luring people to it and then he murders them. But that sounds pretty sadistic, and if it is that, then I'm sorry. But I think that this is like a detective type thing. Okay, let's just see. In a mega stakes high suspense race against time, 3 unlikely and winning heroes try to stop a crazy killer from blowing up thousands. In the pre-dawn hours in a distressed American city, hundreds of unemployed men and women line up for the opening of a job fair. There they are, tired and cold and desperate. Emerging from the fog, invisible until it is too late, a lone driver plows through the crowd in a stolen Mercedes, running over the innocent, backing up and charging again. 8 people are killed, 15 are wounded, and the killer escapes. Months later, an ex-cop named Bill Hodgkins, still haunted by the unsolved crime, contemplates suicide when he gets a crazed letter from the Perk claiming credit for the murders. Hodgkins wakes up from his depressed and vacant retirement, fearing another even more diabolical attack and hell-bent on preventing it. Ooh. I don't usually like detective thrillers in book form. I love it in TV form, but book form, usually I think it's too cut and dry. But I guess I will be reading this. I might start it later tonight. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna catch up on grades. If I instead spend the time catching up on BookTube, no judgments. Okay? Got it. I will see you later. It is a little bit later, and I got 6 grades in for this quarter, which is wonderful. I still need to catch up this weekend and do a couple extra grades. I decided that I would go down the rabbit hole of BookTube, though. Becca from Becca and the Books does this reading vlog this year called Shelf It or Scrap It. She's on episode 3 of the year, and I love this reading vlog. Like, I love the idea of it, and potentially could be doing something next year like it, inspired by her. Yes, I did just have coffee at 7 o'clock at night. It's 7:30 now, but it was 7 when I had coffee. I just finished it. Anyways, one of my prompts, I don't remember which one, but if I look it up and I can see it right there, or you can see it right there. But one of the prompts is that I need to read The Legend of Dia. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And it's literally like 1 page. So we're gonna have like a little read aloud for Orillium. This is one of my prompts. It counts for my points, and I know a lot of people need this one, so you know, count this for yourself too, because I'm gonna read it out loud to you. So, The Legend of Dia. And I still can't for the life of me pronounce the land. I just want to call it Alita because I am self-absorbed. Well, no, it's Aelita.
Ldia. So it's like my name backwards, kinda, with an E. And I'm just, every time I see that, I'm gonna say my name because it's easier for me to do that. Sorry. Okay, before Alita was a place of seasons and cycles. Before the people, there was life. Life not as we know it now, in a form that is hard for us to comprehend. Life never ending. It all took place long before Armlor, back when the land was young and unexplored, and begins on Lydia. Lydia? I'm going Lydia. Okay. Were a variety of unknown today, now long extinct. Whilst idyllic in theory, the practice of such existence is complicated. Life without an end can turn treacherous, meaningless, slow, agonizing. There was joy and happiness, but there was also emptiness. Creatures aged slow, but aged still. Were injured, suffered, healed, recovered, grew, tired. According to the legend, death is learned, and life begged for a teacher. The unspoken request was heard by a cosmic goddess who took pity on Aledia. She had seen young planets before and knew exactly what to do. Dia had to teach life how to die. Every sundown, she would fall from the sky to gently lead the dying creatures to the afterlife. Some had to walk quite a bit, some just for a few hours. As they walked, the goddess would talk. She would speak of life elsewhere. She would tell them stories of heroes and small acts of kindness, of cruelty and maliciousness. She would speak of life with all its pain and beauty and of morals. She would speak until the listener lived 1,000 more lives than their own and felt content to let go. She would hold their hands until they were reborn to be different and live another life. Yet untold, a gift of a new story for the goddess. The legend dictates that every old path of Aledia is a path left behind by Dia, walking the creatures night after night, changing the course of the planet and those who will continue walking here long after she moved on. I apologize for the air sounds you hear. In a way, Dia was the first to map Lydia, to walk and to live it. This gift of passing life, beautiful in its imperfections, eventually led to the appearance of Earthlings and all the other mortal races. After Dia left, and as generations passed, the people of Lydia moved on. They began worshiping newer gods, but have never forgotten the precious gift of rest, full rebirth, and mortality that Dia brought. And then there's this picture. Let me see if I can show you this picture. So that is the goddess Dia. But that's awesome. I just checked another box for Orillium, and I will update you when I've actually read some of Mr. Mercedes. Alright, so I started some laundry, and now we're finally going to start the first chapter of this. I think I have about an hour of reading time, if I can focus. It's all if I can focus. Like I said, I don't really know a whole lot. I do absolutely love the back. But let's see what it's probably just boring, but yeah. Okay. Just run black, but I love this. I think it's the blood. It really ties it together. Anyways, let's read this. I am only 12 pages in to Mr. Mercedes. What an epic start. Stephen King, best start to any of the books that I've read by you. I know I haven't read a lot of them, but, and you're probably not watching this, but if you are, hey, epic start. So you follow this man named Augie in 2009 when, you know, the Great Crash. I mean, obviously not the Great Depression crash, but another stock market crash. And people were losing jobs, and it was a hard place to be. There was this job fair in this mall, I think, or in this auto mall. I'm not entirely sure, but that's not important. And it says 1,000 jobs guaranteed on this flyer that they put out. And like early birds, you know, were like spending the night before, camped out. You know how like some people camp out to buy like tickets to concerts and things like that? Yeah, they were camping out so they could get jobs. And you follow Augie, and the girl in front of him is named Janice, and she had to bring her baby. So he woke up early and he was just like, hey, you know what? I thought of a plan for her. I think we should just pretend that we're partners. Pretend that we're together, but we haven't gotten married yet. But that would explain why the baby's there, and it wouldn't be such a big thing. You know, like such a bad thing that the baby was there. Because they were giving her, like, they were being mean to her because she brought her baby to the job fair the night before. And while he's thinking this Mercedes-Benz, who he notices because like the headlights, the brights are on and there's no reason for them. But he also notices because like who would go to a job fair in like this fancy Mercedes-Benz? And I don't know who it was. You don't know. You're just kind of in the crowd of people who were getting ran over, who were being maliciously murdered with his Mercedes-Benz. And he would go straight over people, and then he would like back up and make sure that they were dead. Epic start. So like I said last night, this starts with the opening scene, or like the prologue is 4 pages, maybe 5 pages, about all these people that are it's at the start of like the recession in 2009, and all these people are lined up for this job fair that hasn't opened yet. They're like camping out, and someone in a Mercedes-Benz decides to trample over everyone, like run them over, and then backing up
to make sure that they're dead. And some things that happen to different people during this, like a baby, it describes how the baby died. It describes some of the injuries and how painful they were, and like it was horrifying. But now we start following from Bill Hodgkin's perspective, who is the old ex-cop who was real, like, not in a good place. And then you're kind of in Hodgkin's perspective for most of the first part, but there are a couple of times where you hear from someone named Brady, and it becomes abundantly clear that Brady sent Bill Hodgkins this letter saying, oh, I'm one of them that got away and you never caught me, so maybe you should excuse me, but maybe you should blow your brains out. And maybe you should just do everyone a favor and not be in this world anymore. So clearly Brady is the Mercedes killer, but Bill Hodgkins doesn't know that because it's like one of the unsolved cases that still haunts him. But instead of sending that letter and Bill Hodgkins just being like, oh yeah, I'm still depressed, let's do this, you know, instead it inspires him to meet with his old partner and to start investigating on his own. Yes, technically he's retired, he doesn't have to, but this is one of the cases that still haunts him. So of course he's gonna try to figure out who this guy is. So now Brady is kind of low-key also stalking Bill Hodgkins. So I'm just really excited to read this next section. And because of the way that the book is written and there's different like sections and different titles, I know a lot of books do that, but because of that, I think after each section of the book I'm going to update you. I know it's usually the first 100 pages, then 50%, then the end of the book, but I think it would be more fun to just update at different parts. So I'm gonna see if I can find an audiobook to listen to, because I read that entire part with my eyes, which was so refreshing, but I do have to do it. Reading sprints. Let me show you. Oh my god, there was just a huge plot twist. So this morning I updated you when I was about 100 pages in, less than 100 pages in, and I was just telling you my initial thoughts. And then I was like, oh, I'm very ambitious, I'm gonna tell you every time I hit a different part. But then I forgot my camera at home and went to work, and I got to Poison Bait, which was the next section, and we just finished Poison Bait. That was Poison Bait. We're on Call for the Dead now. I can't like go into detail
without spoiling things. So just know that I am shocked at what has happened in Poison Bait, especially like the end of that section was just haunting, and I cannot believe Stephen King went there. But like, I can believe it because it's Stephen King. But you are flipping between Bill Hodge's brain. He's an ex-cop. He's like a retired cop, and he just got this letter from Brady, who is one of the only cases who is still like unknown to him. So he doesn't know who Brady is, but he knows that someone's watching him, and he knows that this person had a Mercedes-Benz and murdered 8 people and severely injured many, many more during a job fair. And it's so gripping and it's so addictive. This might be better than Pet Sematary. Whoa. I did not even think I was going to go there, because if you've been on my channel before, you know my favorite Stephen King book is Pet Sematary, but this might be better. I mean, I just started this last night, and I've already read 235 pages of a Stephen King novel. And like, that's like, those are massive pages. I was a little worried because when I first started reading this, like one page took me like 5 minutes to read every, like 2 pages, because they're long. There's a lot of words on them. But it reads so easy, and I love being in Brady's mind. Brady is sick. He is disturbing. But I also like being in Bill's head. Bill is lost in life now that he's retired. He's thought about suicide many times now. And he's kind of an alcoholic. And I actually feel bad for Brady, who is like the villain in the story. And like, how can I feel bad for a guy that... What? Oh my gosh. My plan is to finish this tomorrow for sure. So I'll update you when I've read more. But just know, I have no words. It was just so good. This is so good. So I've made it to Kisses on the Midway by Mr. Mercedes. I've made it to Kisses on the Midway in Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. And I have some thoughts. I love the setup of this book. I love that you follow Bill Hodgkins, who is a retired cop. Like, usually I don't like detective or cop stories, but Bill is so imperfect. He has so many flaws. But at the end of the day, he was a cop. And at the end of the day, these cases still haunt him. And at the end of the day, like, you can't help but root for him. Then I did go look at some ratings of Mr. Mercedes to see what other people were saying. And one of the biggest things that people are hating about this book, people like this book, but the ones that are hating this book are talking about how being inside Brady's brain is a terrible place to be. how it's terrifying and it's horrific and he's a very bad person. But clearly he's a horrible person. He stole the Mercedes-Benz at the very beginning of this and mowed down people that were just waiting in line at a job fair to get a job. And he just mowed them down. He killed like 8 people and injured many, many more. And he talks, like, some of the descriptions in here are disgusting. And, like, I kind of wish I wouldn't have read them. But they make you really see who Brady is versus Bill. And Brady is the type of guy that I hope he dies. I don't think he's going to, but I hope he does. There's not one redeemable quality in him. And I'm like most of the way done with this book. So I feel like I can say that. The things that I'm not liking, though. I do not like the insta-love between Janie and Bill. I don't understand it. I don't care about it. Like, I really could have gone without that. It doesn't add anything to this book. In fact, it kind of hinders it. I think that's the only thing I hate about this book. But I also kind of hate myself a little because as terrible of a person as Brady is, like, he's a monster. I agree. It's horrid to be in his brain, but that's kind of why I like it. At the same time, Brady had some really messed up stuff happen to him. Like, things that no child or that no person should ever have to go through. But he was dealt a real shitty hand. Excuse my French. And I have empathy for what he went through, but I do not have empathy for the character that he became because of it. I think he could have made other choices, but at the same time, like, I didn't have to suffer through some of the things that he did. So I don't know. I'm not justifying his actions at all because there's nothing to justify. Like, he's a creep. He's beyond a creep. He's a horrible person. He's a monster. But at the end of the day, there's a reason that he's a monster. Also, the fact that every time you are in Brady's brain, he refers to Bill as the fat ex-cop. That's not... that makes me uncomfortable. But see, the thing is that you're not supposed to like Brady. You're supposed to see him for the monster that he is. So the fact that he refers to Bill as the fat ex-cop, and the fact that he is very, very racist, and everything like that, like, those are just extra reasons to hate the villain in this story. You're not supposed to like him. Okay. A little update. Not really, but this is just turning into this, like, cat and mouse great race. Okay, it's not really that great, but it's kind of scary because Brady, the one that I was talking about earlier, the, like, really scary one, I don't like being in his mind, but I understand why he's the way he is, like why Stephen King wrote him in such a horrifying manner, because like he mowed over so many people in his Mercedes-Benz, and it wasn't even his, like he stole the car. But now Brady sent a letter to Bill, the ex-cop, and he's like, oh, I'm coming after. He didn't even send him a letter, sorry, it was in this chat room that doesn't exist in real life. But in this book, it's like the blue umbrella chat room where it's like anonymous, you know? And he basically created Bill's account for him, and then in the letter that he wrote him, he's like, oh, please log on, this is your login information if you want to talk to me. So they've been corresponding on this chat room, and Brady was like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, to Bill. And Bill's like, you know what, I was going to catch you, and I was going to bring you to justice, and I was going to tell my cop friends, because, you know, he just retired, so he still knows everyone in the police force. And he's just like, I was going to do all that, but you know what? You just made me mad, and now I'm gonna murder you before you murder me. So now it's just like, what's gonna happen? Who's gonna kill who? Or are they both gonna die? What? But I'm excited to find out what's gonna happen. That makes me sound really sadistic. It's the next day, and I finished Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King last night, but haven't updated you yet. I've been really busy. It's like 4:45 in the afternoon, almost time to start dinner. But this was used for a book that intimidated me. Either start or continue a series that intimidates me. So I've already told you about this book. I'm not really gonna tell you much more, other than I think I'm gonna give it like a 3.5 star, maybe more towards like a 4 star. But I loved being in Billy's head and then being in Brady's head. Brady is like a sadistic, like, psychopath. And at first I was really upset about something that happened to Brady's mom. But then thinking about the kind of person she was and the things that she was doing to Brady, I didn't feel as bad. And the ending of this was so wild. It was so action-packed and just one thing after another after another. I really enjoyed this more than I thought I would. However, I think it could have been done without the romance. Like, that is my biggest gripe with this book, is about the romance. Then really it was a really good book. I like romance books, but I didn't think that the insta-love or the insta-lust in this book really fit. And I just didn't really care about the love situation. I didn't care about Janie and Bill. But, you know, this was actually really, really fun, really intense, a real bad place to be sometimes, because inside Brady's head, he's a terrible person, and that's putting it lightly. And I think highly of everyone, but there's no redeeming qualities for Brady. On the other hand, though, he was dealt a real bad hand in life, but that's not an excuse for some of the things that he does in this book. And it was just
it was just a wild ride. I really thought that I would hate this and unhaul it. I don't think that I'm gonna continue with the series. Like, it ends on a cliffhanger, so that, you know, you go out and buy the next book in the series. I think it's a trilogy. I really, really enjoyed this book, but I don't have that compulsion to go buy the rest of the series. So for right now, I'm just going to keep it on my shelf as a book that I've read and that I really enjoyed. Maybe eventually, after some time, I'll be like, you know what? I do really want to revisit these characters, and I do want to know what happens next. But I'm kind of like, yeah, it was fun. It was intense. It was action-packed. It was gross. It was horrifying. It was everything that you wanted, that I didn't think it was going to be, wrapped up in a little bow with blood and gore and ice cream trucks. So I would actually really recommend this. I just don't think I need to finish the series. So, okay, so for our next prompt, it says back to Orillium. So this is for the month of April. So you get a break from adventuring, which is cool. So that means that May, I mean, we're not doing them month to month like you're supposed to. We're just doing all in one big video. So May's, I have 4 choices. So I can get extra credit in alchemy, extra credit in lore, extra credit in restoration, or extra credit in animal studies. Let me go grab my career paperwork and figure out which one, if any of them, I'm taking. I think that I had to take alchemy, but let's go find out. Okay, so I'm a star whisperer, if you forgot. I talk to the stars. They talk to me, actually. Art of Illusion. Art of Illusion was not one of them. Astronomy was not one of them. Inscription was not one of them. Lore. Okay, lore is one where we had to read that story together. It was like literally a page. And I read it to you last night. So, extra credit in lore. Title has multiple L's. Ooh, let's see if we can make that happen. Or if I'm just gonna pick a different prompt. Okay, that took me actually a little bit because I had a couple of options, but I think I'm gonna go with Lies, Lies, Lies by Adele Parks. This is a domestic thriller of sorts between a husband and a wife, and Daisy and Simon's marriage isn't what it seems. After years together, the arrival of longed-for daughter Millie sealed everything in place. They're a happy little family of 3. So what if Simon drinks a bit too much? Daisy's used to it. She knows he's just letting off steam until one night at a party, things spiral horribly out of control. So I'm picking this one because it has an audiobook and I'm about to start dinner. So I'm going to start it on audio and see how that goes. So just so y'all know, I did finally find an audiobook of Mr. Mercedes, but I read most of this with my eyes, which is awesome. I think I listened to the last section, which is actually quite a bit, but other than that, I read it physically with my eyes, which felt really refreshing because sometimes I tend to rely heavily on audiobooks. and I'm trying not to as much, but I do want to start Lies, Lies, Lies while I'm making some dinner. But this part was all audiobook, so the last like 150 pages. The rest was all reading with my eyes, which is cool. But I'm gonna add this to the books I've read this month over there and go get started on dinner. Normally I update at 100 pages in, but I'm only 55 pages in and I have thoughts. So I also have predictions. The first thing is that you follow Simon and Daisy, who are a married couple who have been trying to have a baby, and they find out that they are not able to have a child together, and they try IFV and they spend thousands and thousands of dollars, and they finally get pregnant. But they get pregnant during like an off time from IFV, so it's like naturally their child. Now it's like 6 years later, and they have this child named Maisie. I think her name is Maisie. And they want to have another child, so they've been trying for a baby. And now Simon is at the doctor trying to figure out like next steps in getting pregnant again. And the doctor has basically told him that he's sterile and that he's been sterile for a very long time, and that he doesn't come out and say this, but you're supposed to think that Daisy cheated on Simon, and that's how she became pregnant, because they were not doing IFV at that time. And the doctor is certain that Simon cannot like have a baby. Like he cannot father a child. So I'm very, very intrigued. Like I said, I think that Daisy cheated on her husband, and that his daughter is not actually his. And that's kind of basically what the doctor was implying. So I'm very intrigued to what's gonna happen next. I have made it a little over 100 pages into Lies, Lies, Lies by Adele Parks, and I'm DNFing it. I'm not gonna finish it. So I've been going back and forth, and I'm like, okay, well, I could like pick a different book with double L's, at least 2 L's, or I could just count this and keep going for the adventure, or I could just power through and finish this. I am 110 pages into this novel, and nothing has happened. Like, you're following Simon, who is an alcoholic, and like, I don't care. And he also found out that Daisy cheated on him, or at least like that's the assumption, is that she cheated on him, and that's how Millie, their daughter, came to be into this world. And he is trying to force Daisy to have another child, but Daisy doesn't want a child, another baby, and I'm so bored. So bored. I don't even know what the next prompt is, but I'm DNFing it, and I'm counting it as good for the game, because this book is no longer on my TBR, so I'm counting it. I know I only read 110 pages, but I'm not doing this to myself. I can't. Not even for you, not even for this channel. I just, nope. No thank you. Next. So let's find out what my next prompt is. Okay, so I found this and a pencil. I am still gonna count it. So I'm gonna circle back to Orillium because that was basically a free space. Then I picked extra credit in lore, so title that has multiple L's. And even though we didn't finish it, I'm still counting it. So then our next one, I don't have a choice. Our next one is read about first recorded companions. Book. Oh, book you've had for ages. So a TBR Vex. Okay. Ooh, okay, so that whole bookshelf, that whole pile, I can't use any of those. Oh, this might take some digging, but we'll find something.
Good morning. So we changed around the whole living room. And by we, I mean my husband. So let's check it out. Boom. Our computers are over there in our little corners. The TV used to be over here, but now it's over there. And we got like a little, this is supposed to be my grading station, but right now it looks like it's a lot of Patrick stuff. Then over here is mine. Alright, so for the prompt, a book that's been on your TBR for ages, I am going to read a Kindle book called Protecting Piper, Wild Ways Series, Book 1. There are 17 books in the series, so if I read this book and I really don't like it, which I'm kind of hoping, I know it's weird to go into a book hoping that you don't like it as much, but if I don't like it, then I can get 17 books off my TBR, which is wonderful. So this says, Eric Wilde has always known that Piper Lane isn't for him. She's his younger brother's best friend. Ooh, I love a best friend's brother's romance. But that hasn't stopped Eric from wanting her, for longing for the one woman that he can't have. Sure, he's rich, successful, he's built a security empire, and he's got the world at his feet. Only he doesn't have her. Ooh, okay. That's bad because now I'm really excited for this one. But I'm gonna start this book on my computer. So I'm probably just gonna sit here and read the first few chapters while everyone's still asleep. It's Sunday morning and it's only like 6 in the morning. So I might be able to knock this out before anyone actually gets up. Although everyone is off today, which doesn't happen very often. I don't know page numbers because it's on Kindle. It just says location 497 of 2,903 or 17% into the book. So we're just gonna take a break here and I'm gonna update you on my initial thoughts. So this book follows Piper, who is best friends with Ben, and they've always just been best friends. Like there's no like romance or anything involved. It's just they've been best friends for years. Now, Eric is Ben's brother, and he owns a security like empire security business. And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna take care of you because Piper has had 2 break-ins and then
So he's kind of just like trying to protect her, and he's like, you're coming to my place, and not really giving her a choice, just like, okay, just come so that you're protected, so that you're safe. And he has had a thing for her for many, many years, but he was under the assumption that Ben and Piper were gonna get married and that they're like together, but they're not. And the setup is fine. I think it's gonna be more smutty than I typically like in romance, but we haven't hit that point, not even close yet, which is fine. But we just got a little, like, half a page from a different perspective, and it's very ominous. It's like, oh yeah, I broke into your house several times. Twice when you weren't there, but a few times while you were there. Even when you were sleeping in bed, you were so close to me. I just wanted to touch you. And I'm like, what? So she clearly has a stalker. And I'm really, it's very ominous and very dark, and I'm looking forward to figuring out that mystery part. But so far, it's not bad. I'm just enjoying the ride, so I'll update you about halfway through. Okay, I'm not halfway in yet. I'm only like a third of the way into protecting Piper. Man, I went into this one because it's been on my TBR for 3 years. Tomorrow will make exactly 3 years, which is quite a long time. That's definitely a TBR vet. And I went into this, I'm like, oh, it's like a huge series. I'm gonna just read this one and find it mediocre, and then I'm gonna have that whole series taken off my TBR, which will be great for me. But it's so cute. It's so swoon-worthy, and it's just, I'm having a great time with this book. I didn't want to like it, but I'm really enjoying it. I might finish it today. I guess it depends on like when other people get up and if we're gonna do anything today, but I would not mind just sitting here the rest of the day. At least, like, I think it'll only take me like 2 or 3 more hours to finish this whole book. I might just do that. Just sit here in one sitting and finish this whole like 300-page book. What? Yeah, I might do it. But I got some water and some coffee. So I'll probably update you maybe halfway, but I mean, I'm at 33% already, so maybe I'll just wait till I'm done. Or whenever I have more thoughts. It's just so cute. It's really, really like swoon-worthy, and I might be blushing a little bit while I'm reading it because Eric is so cute for Piper. I finished Protecting Piper on Kindle, and I think that I'm gonna give it like 3 stars. I really loved the best friend's brother romance, and the best friend's brother romance. That was great. I didn't care for the detective. I didn't like the stalker aspect. Like, I did initially. It was kind of intriguing, but I feel like we could have gone somewhere with that instead of kind of making it so blatantly obvious. I would have liked it better if it was her best friend Ben or her best friend's brother, like Eric, or something colluded like that. That would have been so much fun. It was fine. I had fun with it. I think I'm gonna give it like 3 stars.
and we're gonna see what our next book is. So we have read the first recorded companions. So that is the one that we just did. So I'm gonna circle it. And let's follow the line right here. So on this one, again, I don't have a choice what the prompt is. So this one says, befriend and tame a messenger crow. Read a friend's favorite book. Okay. It's been many, many hours. And I had a hard time figuring out what I wanted to pick for my, like, friend's favorite. Initially, I thought I will read another Jane Austen book because my partner at work and my friend, she loves Jane Austen. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, this is a goal to read all of these this year anyway, but we did start this video off by reading Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, which, by the way,
Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen was one of the first books I read for this reading vlog, but unfortunately it was one of the clips, or several of the clips, that got destroyed. So let me just update you on Northanger Abbey. Okay, so I've owned the complete novels of Jane Austen for a little bit. I think I got it in December, maybe January, but I've been working my way through them. I read Emma first, and then at the beginning of what was supposed to be in this book was Northanger Abbey, and I loved it so much that I had to buy myself a physical copy of just Northanger Abbey. I love Catherine. Like, Catherine was so good. So this is more like coming of age, more about friendship, and like there is love in it, but I think it kind of just talks a lot about like friendship love versus like romantic love and things like that, and I just really, really fell in love with Catherine. So I clearly loved Northanger Abbey because I went to buy myself a copy that was not just the complete collection
by Jane Austen, which, by the way, I loved. It's my second Jane Austen book. The first one was Emma, and I didn't love it as much. But I was like, okay, that's a possibility. I also have One for the Money, the Stephanie Plum series. I think One for the Money is the first one, and that was also recommended to me from a friend at work. And then also they recommended the True Blood series. It's not called True Blood, but it became True Blood for the TV show. I haven't seen the TV show or read the books, but they're on my list for this year. So those are all great options. But like, I just didn't want to do it. So I'm changing the rules a little bit, kind of. I have this reading challenge on my channel for the year of 2024, but there's no way I'm going to finish all of these in 2024, so it's probably going to go into next year, just as a little spoiler alert for you. But I'm trying to read 101 Horror Books to Read Before You're Murdered by Sadie Hartman, or Mother Horror. And I'm going to say that she is my friend because I do follow her on Instagram, and also, like, she wrote this book, and I am very much trying to read every book in this book, and I'm vlogging them. So I don't know if that's cheating, but that's what I'm gonna do. I own Attack of the 50-Foot Indian by Stephen Graham Jones, and there are some pages that have different authors' profile and the books that she recommends by them, and I've read all but 2 on here. One is Attack of the 50-Foot Indian, and the other is Mapping the Interior. I own Attack of the 50-Foot Indian on Kindle, so I'm gonna quickly read that one. I don't know, I think it's a novella, but I'm not entirely sure. But I might start that one, and then we're gonna go bowling tonight. George, my brother-in-law, wants to go bowling, so I think we're gonna do that here. I mean, it'll be a few hours still, so I might have time to start this book. I don't know if I want to read it on my phone or on the computer, because I've been in front of the computer a lot today, but I also caught up on grades, so it wasn't like I was just sitting there. But maybe I'll start it on my phone and see how that works out. Okay, so I finished the Attack of the 50-Foot Indian by Stephen Graham Jones. I don't understand it. Like, maybe I'm just stupid. But I didn't like this one by him, which he is like either a really hit with me or a real miss with me. This one just did not hit the mark. I don't like government type of stories or where the government is involved or gets involved. I also don't like military like stories. I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the military people and everyone that's in the military and serving our country. That's amazing. I just don't like reading about it. And I don't know, it was so weird. So if you like weird horror, then maybe you'd like this. I didn't think I'm gonna give it like 2 stars, but all the reviews are saying how amazing it is. And like, in one hand, I do think that the message is really, really good. And I love what Stephen Graham Jones was doing. I just don't think it hit for me as much. I don't know why. It's definitely not a novella. It's a short story. It's like 49 pages or something like that. I read it on Kindle, so, you know, I'm not entirely sure, but like I said, we're gonna go bowling tonight. Bowling. We're probably gonna go bowling. There we go. I can say words. So I'm gonna do a little bit of makeup, probably. Definitely. I don't know what the next, like, thing on the paper is, because it's a pick your own adventure type of thing, and based on the prompts that we've already picked, there's gonna be a new one, and I don't know what it is because I haven't looked ahead, but I hope that I can get a physical book. I just would really like to get a book off my shelf. I don't know what I'm hoping for. Maybe like a romance. Do I want to read romance? Yeah, I'm thinking maybe something like a romance, or I could read another horror novel, but it has to be one of the two that I've been eyeballing for a long time on my shelf. Well, at least for the past few months. But I do think that I would prefer a romance. I don't know. There's something about romance right now that just is screaming to me. So, we're back. We're gonna see what my next prompt is. I would really like a physical book because we've read some Kindles today, and that's awesome, but I just want to get a physical book off my shelf and read it. Let's see what our next prompt is. So we read a friend's favorite, so let's circle that. And the next one is back to Orillium. So we're actually on August. Ooh, I feel like we'll be able to finish this vlog in the next, okay, well, in a few days. It'll take me a few days. It depends on what we get. But let's go to September's prompt. So I have a choice. I can follow a giddy friend through a shiny rift portal. Okay. Or inspect a dark, mysterious pool on the quarter floor. Okay. I don't know which one I'm going to do yet, but if I follow a giddy friend, then it's a cozy or comfort read, which could be good. I said I wanted to read a romance. That still stands, but if I inspect a dark, mysterious pool, then I need to read a scary or dark book. Give me some time to think about this. Okay, I finally figured it out. And I don't own this book physically. It is at my library audiobook. So that's okay. We'll just listen to an audiobook for this one. And surprisingly, we're going with Inspect a Dark, Mysterious Pool on the quarter floor. And my prompt is a scary or dark book. So for that, I'm going to listen to The Ones That Got Away by Stephen Graham Jones. And I know we just read a Kindle book by Stephen Graham Jones, and I really didn't like it. But he is either a really hit or really miss with me. Some of my favorite books by him are like Night of the Living Mannequins. I think that one's actually, oh, and Mongrels. Mongrels is a pretty good one too. So this is The Ones That Got Away. It is, I think, 13 short stories. And so it says these 13 stories are our own lives inside out. A boy's summer romance doesn't end in the good kind of heartbreak, but in blood. A girl on a fishing trip makes a friend in the woods who's exactly what she needs.
except that that friend follows her back to the city. A father hears a voice through his baby monitor that shouldn't be possible, but now he can't stop listening. Ooh. A woman finds out that the shipwreck wasn't the disaster, but who she's shipwrecked with. A big brother learns just what he will and won't trade for one night of sleep. From prison guards making unholy alliances to snake oil men in the Old West doling out justice. These stories carve down into the body of the mind, into our most base fears, and there's no anesthetic. Turn the light on if you want, but that just makes for more shadows. So I might start this a little bit later. I'm trying. I mean, I haven't told you guys, but I want to find like anthology collections that I like. See, I tend to start anthologies and then get bored because I feel like I like longer novels better. Not like 5 or 6 or 700 page novels, but you know, like 300 to 400, 500 is like pushing it. It's done. But sometimes I feel like the short stories, you don't get enough character development, but I am willing to try to find some anthologies that I like. So we're gonna read The Ones That Got Away. Good morning. So last night we went bowling, which you saw a little bit of, and then we watched Along Came a Spider, which is like a 2001 detective type movie that was based on the James Patterson books. Anyways, we did that. And last night I read the first short story in The Ones That Got Away by Stephen Graham Jones. And the first one was called Father and Son and Holy Rabbit. And it was so weird. It was just a weird horror novel about this father and this son that are like trying to survive this snowstorm. And yeah, I can't say anything else. It's just weird. I didn't particularly love it. I gave it 2 stars. But the next one is called Till Morning Comes, and I'm going to start that one right now. So I'll update you when I finished it. I just finished Till Morning Comes, and that one gave me goosebumps. I don't know if you can see, but oh my god, that one was legitimately terrifying. So it's about like this family whose uncle or brother is living, like uncle to the kid or brother to the adults, is living with them at like 26 years old because he doesn't have his stuff together, but he gets a job where he's working at night, and he's not at home during the nighttime, and they leave the door open to his room because that's where the like window air conditioning unit is, so that the whole house can get some of that air conditioning rather than just being in that one room. So that door is always open, and you follow like the monsters in the closet. And I mean, that's like a real life childhood fear, like the boogeyman that lives under the bed or the whatever monster that lives in the closet. And he literally saw this monster like come out and then go back in and come out, and that is the scariest thing ever, is to have a monster watching you from the closet. I started listening to this in the room this morning and while I was getting ready, and I just kept staring at my closet. I'm like, don't you move on your own. Don't you do it. And so if short story can get inside my head like that, then I know it's really good. So that one is going to be a 5-star for me because I'm legitimately scared. So right now we have a 2-star and a 5-star. Let's see what else we get. I just finished the next short story, which is Billy Clay. This one is just disgusting, and I get that horror novels are supposed to be disturbing or gross or scary or a combination. This one was just disgusting. And I don't like my horror that's disgusting. I don't like it. I can't do body horror. I can't do especially things about food when I'm cooking. So I'm frying up some spaghetti and I'm making potatoes so that I can make breakfast burritos. And they were talking. Okay, so this takes place at a prison, but it's just a conversation between a couple of guards, and they're talking about like bulls, or like a bull that went crazy after a guy at the rodeo killed himself, and they said that his spirit left him and went into the bull, and then the bull went crazy and started killing people. But then there's a whole lot more to it about the bull meat, and I want to be sick. And I know that that's what horror novels are supposed to be. Like, they're supposed to sicken you. They're supposed to make you feel disgusting. I just don't like this kind of poor. So I'm gonna give this one 2 stars.
I'm at school, but I'm also listening, or I was listening to The Ones That Got Away by Stephen Graham Jones. I listened to So Perfect, which is the title of the short story, and it was weird. It was also kind of like really gross. It's about these 2 high school age girls who are kind of mean. They're like the popular kids. They're not nice, and they decide that they want to lose some weight, and they've been observing things that have been happening on the farm, and somehow they give themselves tics that make them extremely sick, to the point where they lose like 15 pounds between the 2 of them in a matter of like 3 days. And they can't eat or anything like that, and they're super excited that they're like slimming down. It was really gross. It didn't gross me out as much as the food one did earlier, but I think I'm gonna give that one a 3 star. Like, it was fine. It definitely gave me the ooey gooeys, but yeah, it was just Yui. It was just Yui. Okay, so I have finished 2 of the short stories in this collection. The first one is Longgire's Luck. It was weird, and it went way too far with like sickness. It was really graphic, and I don't appreciate those kind of books or those kind of stories. So I gave that one a 2 star, and I just said it was too yucky for me. Then I just finished Monsters, and that one was really interesting. So I keep going back from 4 and 5. So you follow these 2 like teenagers who are best friends, and there's this guy in black leather pants that's following them and asking the guy, or the boy, if he wants to be number 5, and like, you have no idea what that means. And then things go wild and off the chains, and I really actually enjoyed that one a lot. So I think I'm gonna stick with 5 stars on that one. I'm probably gonna listen to one more. I'm gonna listen to a couple more tonight, but I don't know. I'm debating just sitting out here and listening to one more, or if I want to go in and clean up my dinner mess. I just need to clean the dishes, wash the dishes, and eventually, I don't know if I'm gonna do it tonight, but eventually I should really put my laundry away, like fold it and put it away. We'll see if we get to that tonight, but that would give me extra time to listen, and we can see how many of these we can get through tonight. I'm at 38%. I feel like I could finish, let's see, how many have I listened to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the past 2 days. So that's 3 a day, but I'm gonna be listening to more. I think we could get to 10 tonight, which would be halfway through the book, probably. I think we could knock this out by Wednesday. It's Monday, so we can finally move on the board. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking and just finish listening to these. I just finished Wolf Island. What? Okay, here's the thing. I loved the survival isolated island story that it was. It was dark and mysterious, and I did not get answers because it's a short story. And I actually did really enjoy the characters, especially Emma. She was awesome. With that being said, there was this really weird element where I can't even remember his name because I didn't really care about him. But the guy in this book, he transformed into a dolphin when he went in the water. And, like, he kept going back and forth because he was... I finished another one of the short stories in The Ones That Got Away by Stephen Graham Jones. And this one was so icky. Like, ugh. I get it. It's horror novels, so... a lot of people like the icky, gross stuff. I am finding that I don't love the icky grossness. I like more cheesy horror novels, or even more realistic, or like the boogeyman is living under your bed or in your closet and he's gonna get you. The last one was called Teeth, and it's literally about cannibalism. See, I don't like to tell you a whole lot about them because they're short stories and I don't want to ruin the whole thing. But that was one of the longer ones, and I didn't completely hate it. It was just icky. But I am giving it 3 stars. So let's take a look at the rankings right now. I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've read 8 of the books. I am 55% of the way through this short story collection. So a little over halfway. I might finish it tomorrow. I don't know. I'm not quite done tonight. I don't know. We'll see. But I might be able to finish one more. One more is an hour though. Will I be up? That's a different problem. But I've read 8 of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I have 2 stars because they were the grody ones. I don't really like the gross ones. I have 3 stars. They were like fine. And 2 5-stars. So the 2 5-stars that I have so far are Till the Morning Comes and Monsters. Till the Morning Comes literally has entities or a monster. I don't know. It literally has something coming out of the closet to get you. And I like that one. That one was probably my favorite. Then Monsters is a second. I think I'm going to switch my rating to Monsters to 4 stars because Till the Morning Comes is still the best short story in this collection so far. I just listened to the short story Raphael, and that is my favorite out of the whole collection so far. So, needless to say, I have to give it 5 stars. But you follow these 4 like teenage outsiders, like think the perks of being a wallflower, like those, you know, that ragtag group of friends who decide that they're gonna tell each other ghost stories. And then when things go off the chains and some of the actual stories start happening, then, you know, it's like their survival story if they survive. And then it flashes forward to one of their futures when they're like 32 and they have kids of their own, and that part was super haunting and super terrifying. That's the part that gave me goosebumps because I can't believe someone would do that to their own child. But I've already said way too much. That one was absolutely horrifying, and I loved it. Okay, so I finished the next short story, which is Captain's Lambnet. This one was really interesting as well. It's like really short. But it follows this man who is escaping from a mental institution, but the nurse is helping him, and then things just kind of go from there. And I enjoyed this one, so I'm probably gonna give this one a 4 star. And I listened to the first like sentence of the meat tree. I'm already scared. There's something about a missing 3rd grader, and I don't like when things happen to kids. So guess what? I just finished the meat tree, and guess what else? Yep, you're right. It is weird. It was really bizarre. And was it creepy? It was just really bizarre and kind of gave me the ick, which we both know is not my kind of horror. I like the campy, the slasher, the funny, but when it comes to like cannibalism and gross food and just weird and gross, not my thing. So That one was super long and it felt like it drug on and on. And for parts of it, like, I really just felt like it was more of a romance with more of a horror elements. But like a romance overtone. I don't know if that was the point. I really don't get that one. It was just ucky for parts of it, and then other parts were just, it was just weird, okay? It was just weird. We only have 2 more short stories left, so we can probably finish this today. Maybe not at school, because the kids are going to be here in like an hour. Yeah, in about an hour, I have to start work. I'm going to go make some copies, though. I'm going to make, speaking of the ick, this is Legendary Creatures Mad Libs, so we don't always get to Mad Libs, but I like to try. It gives them, like language and grammar practice, the different parts of speech and things like that, so that hopefully next year I want to do one of these every single week on Fridays. It'll be like a Friday thing. Starting at the very beginning of the school year. I kind of started it later this year along with Haggerty, but the Haggerty that I bought is 23 weeks. So I'm thinking that we'll start that pretty much at the beginning of the year too, and then I can go back and reinforce those skills if my kids forget them, or I'll have that extra block in my day once Haggerty is done. After, I'm gonna say 23 weeks, so you're supposed to do 1 a week, but I'm human and margin of error. I'm gonna say I can get 23 weeks done in 28 weeks, 27 weeks. Let's try 27. But yeah, I'm just getting stuff ready for next year. This is my goal this week, is to clean that U table right there. I started it yesterday. I don't think you can tell, but it was real bad. So hopefully today I'll just be able to get that done. But I also am doing student store today. So it's the first day of student store. We're gonna do this once a week. And yes, some of my letters of the alphabet did fall down. That is the truth of being a teacher. So here's my book. Anyways, thanks. I'm gonna go finish at least one more short story. Alright, I finished The Ones That Got Away, which is also the title of this whole anthology. This one was really, really good. I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars because, like, it felt like a bunch or a couple of like friends deciding to commit a crime. And I can't really tell you much more because, like, it's very, very short, but this one might be, isn't my favorite. I don't think it's quite my favorite. I think it's a 4-star, not quite a 5. I don't know why. I don't think there's enough character development, but man, I could see that one actually becoming a real life, like a long novella or a longer novella or a long novel. So Stephen Graham Jones, if you are watching this, please make The Ones That Got Away, just that short story. Please make it into a longer book. Please. I only have one more short story left. It's called Crawl Space, and I'll tell you about it in the next update. It is the next day. I forgot my camera at school again. It's like a running joke. But I wanted to come on and talk to you about The Ones That Got Away by Stephen Graham Jones. So I listened to Crawl Space, which is the last short story in that collection. It was fine. It just wasn't for me. Overall, this short story anthology, this short story collection from Stephen Graham Jones is not for me. It was kind of too over the top, too gross, and too weird all at the same time, which is fine. I'm still learning my taste in horror novels, and I don't think this was one. So what I did was I added up all the points from each of the short stories. There were a couple that I really, really enjoyed, but I added them all up and divided them by 13 because there are 13 stories, and we got a grand total of like 3.3 or something like that. So I give it 3 stars on Goodreads. There's that piece of paper for Orillium. It might be at my house, if I'm being honest. But basically, the next 2 choices were to read a popular book or to read a book you've heard nothing about. I went with the new Emily Henry book. Not Happy Place, no. Funny Story. And I got like 30%. I got like, I think I got like 10 chapters in, but I have it on Kindle. And I just got the audiobook for it just now, so I'm going to test it and see if I like the audiobook portion. I do really, really like the Kindle book so far. It's just Emily Henry. Like, she can do no wrong. I have some, like, I want to clean all of this area and back here. I just want to do some cleaning, and I'm trying to plan out how my room is going to look next year. But let me go back to Funny Story. Whew. Funny Story follows Daphne, who gets dumped by her fiance, and he runs off with his girl best friend because apparently they're in love with each other. And his girl best friend, Petra is her name, she had a boyfriend named Miles. So both of them, Miles and Daphne, decide that Daphne has to be out of the house in a week because Peter will be home in a week with his new girlfriend. And then Miles is left by himself in his apartment, but he can't afford the bills without someone there on his own. So he is Miles and Daphne decide to like move in together, even though they're essentially strangers, and they're going through this heartbreak together. So I guess that kind of makes it better or easier for them, but it's a lot of that. And then Peter and Petra send both Miles and Daphne separate invitations to their wedding that's happening in like 3 months. And they decide to RSVP, both of them separately, but there's no plus ones. So Daphne tells Peter that she doesn't need a plus one because he was invited to the wedding as well. And he's like, no, you're not dating Miles. Please tell me you're not dating. And she's like, I can't do that. So now they're in this situation where they have to fake date, at least at the wedding, but they are living together. So it makes things very complicated. And, you know, it does have Emily Henry's charm. So far, it's just like an easy breezy read. So I'm hoping the audiobook is pretty good so that I can get my classroom cleaned up. I'm also sadly trying to get ready for end of year because that's coming a lot faster than I want it to. So I not only have to clean up everything, but I have to make sure that it's all like put up and ready for them to come move all my furniture and just for them to come in and clean and for my classroom to be under construction for the summer. And I get really sad at the end of the school year. I don't know if that's ever gonna change or if that's just like a newbie thing. But I'm gonna go get some work done and try this audiobook. I will probably update you about halfway into this story. Hey friends, I actually finished Funny Story by Emily Henry a couple days ago, and I never came on here to talk about it or anything because I've been busy. So let's talk about Funny Story by Emily Henry. I really enjoyed it. I give it 5 stars, and I know, like, I could use that book as either a popular book because Emily Henry is so popular. So it's like a popular author and everyone was talking about it, but it's not getting the best reviews, which I do not agree with at all. So I could also use it as something you haven't heard a lot about, but I think in all reality, I have heard about it. It was just not as popular after people read it, but I'm still counting it. So I'm going to circle read a popular book. And then our next one is Get Immediately Spotted by a Terrifying Grinning Fae. Finish a book in one sitting. And I have plans tonight. Yeah, I have plans after work on a Friday night. What? Who is she? So what I'm going to do is, you might say it's cheating, but I don't care. If I don't read it now, then I'm never gonna read it. I have this random The Ghost Train. It's literally 7 minutes. So I'm just gonna sit here for 7 minutes and listen to this audiobook called The Ghost Train. I'm sure it's about some kind of train that is scary, and I'm just gonna listen real quick this morning, and then I have one more book that I need to pick for this readathon, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 days to read it, but today's pretty much shot, so I'm not counting today. So 4 days,
And I was hoping to have this vlog in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in 10 days. So I have to finish filming in 4, and then I have 6 days to edit it after that. Anyways, I'm gonna listen to this and then I'll come tell you what it was about. I'm not gonna update you halfway through because clearly it's a short story. I finished the Ghost Train and like it was fine, I guess. It was really just a very, very short story about a ghost train and a couple of friends that were down in the train tunnels. So I'm assuming it's like more like a subway thing. And they were just like walking around, like hanging out near the ghost train, and then the ghost train comes, and that was it. It was, I didn't feel invested. It wasn't long enough, but I get it. It's just a short story. I'm probably really just gonna forget about this this short story, like very, very soon. But it was fine, I guess. I only have one more book that I need to read. I need to pick a romance, and I probably won't see you until tomorrow. If I bring my camera out tonight, then maybe you'll see art night, because it's art night at my school, and you'll see me going out tonight. I don't know. I might bring the camera, I might not, but I guess I'll see you either tonight or tomorrow when we pick my next book. Good morning. It is Saturday. I think I updated you last on Thursday. So it feels like it's been a little bit. I'm sorry if I sound a little funny. My throat is hurting. I'm thinking my kids might have got me sick. I know, it sucks. Ooh, this coffee is helping though. The hot coffee on my throat. Okay. Ooh, okay. It feels actually very soothing. I know you're supposed to drink tea when you're sick, but sorry, coffee it is. We only have one prompt left, and it's the end of the month, so it says finish in one sitting, which we did on Thursday morning with the ghost train. Like, it was fine. Our last one says attempt to charm them with your lovable personality. Read a romance. So, for the romance prompt, I'm going to try and read Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center within the next, 2 days.
Of course, it does depend on how bad I really end up feeling, but we're going to start this book right now. I'm not feeling all that great. I took some medicine and I was feeling okay, so we did go get stuff from the P.O. box, which maybe I will unbox with you. But I have made it 200 pages into Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center. Here's the thing. This is not a romance book, although there is a romance in it. It's more like chick lit or literary fiction. I'm still counting it for the romance prompt. I'm probably going to listen to the rest on audiobook and try to nap because I'm just not feeling good. I did just take some cold medicine, so hopefully that'll make me feel better. I also don't have a video up on Monday, and I didn't do a short on Saturday, so I'm feeling like a real bummer right now. I don't know if I'm going to have a video up on Monday because I should be editing if I'm going to get something up on Monday, but here's my dilemma. My dilemma is that I don't feel good and I don't want to do it. I'm going to be listening to an audiobook, and that's probably about as much energy as I have, but this follows Cassie as she goes, she basically has to leave her job in Texas, to go to Boston and take care of her mom because her mom is having some medical things, even though they have like a strained relationship. And while she's there, she starts on the same day as Ricky or Owen, and there is no romance between them yet, but I feel like there's going to be. He just asked her to go to his sister's wedding with him, but not like as a date, just as a friend, as a distraction, because him and his girlfriend broke up like 7 months ago. And I feel like it's going in that romantic direction, but I just really enjoy Catherine Center's writing. I really enjoy her characters. They're very dynamic and flawed and perfect. Not perfect. They're not perfect, and that's what makes them amazing. So Cassie starts off this book by giving this guy a concussion who's giving her an award. And she keeps referencing something that happened between him when she was 16, I think when she was 16, but she hasn't told us what it is, so I'm intrigued to figure out what that portion is. Like, I suspect something, but we'll find out later in this book. I'm just really enjoying the ride. I love waiting for the medicine to kick in, and we have my 2 dog helpers. We have Blackjack, hi Vivi, and Jellybean, hi. And then usually I'm laying right there.
I look sick and ugly, and I sound the same way because I've been feeling not good today. But I did finish Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center. And technically I was supposed to read a romance for the last prompt. I did not read a romance. I thought this was going to be a romance, but it's more of a contemporary that has a love story in it. But more than that, this is about Cassie's journey as a firefighter and how, like, a lot of people still think of firefighters as men and how women can't be. And there was a lot of, like, sexism towards her, and she had to, like, prove herself more than her male counterpart, which was interesting. But then there was it's a lot about forgiveness and about making mistakes and embracing the mistakes, because, like, in this, you follow Cassie, who has been burned by a lot of people. And it starts with her, like, punching out a political, like, political person. He might be the mayor. I don't remember. It was just, like, a small part. But you find out why she did it, not till the end of the book. And it was interesting. But I really, really enjoyed being a part of Cassie's life, even if it was only for a little bit. So, my thoughts might not be all that coherent right now, and I apologize for that, but it's like 8 o'clock at night. I have my nighttime medicine, and I'm gonna go to bed. But this is the end of this reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you're new around here. Usually I'm not so sickly, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm a teacher, and I'm pretty sure one of my students got me sick. But hopefully the next time I see you, I will be all better.